Okay, what's up, y'all? It's Dolce Jeans, and I'm back with another video. Today, we're going to be talking about how you can single handedly ruin a brand's image. You can single handedly take any brand you want and ruin the image. Maybe not just you only, but if you and a group of people got together and did it, right? That's We're going to dive into it. But before we do, please like and subscribe. It helps out, it's free, and it just encourages me to make more. I'm gonna keep on making these regardless, but it is appreciated, of course, just the support. But if you don't, I guess that's cool too. Without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, let's say I wear this Years of Tears Ozbat shirt, right? And I go rob a bank, and then five other people wear Years of Tears shirts and rob banks in like the same month, and do a whole bunch of other hooligan stuff in their shirt. That's pretty much like the preface of it, when it's like the people who wear the shirts can like give it life and give it like identity. Because brands can only push so hard their own imagery and do only so much marketing with so much like of a specific aesthetic, and try and already give the clothes an identity, or like the season, the collection, or whatever, or give the brand an identity. But if people who wear it just like style it horribly or just do certain things in it, that's gonna be like the reputation, you know what I mean? But it's like that's how certain brands get to being corny. Like imagine if you saw somebody wearing the icon hat, or like the trap star clothes, you know what I mean? Or like an emoji suit. You know what I mean? Like that's long story short. But I'm about to give you the long story. So basically it all kind of changed when fashion got democratized. Fashion used to only be high fashion. Only the highest of high people in society could afford like tailored, curated fashion, right? It used to be the kings and queens and the nobles, until like dynasties and empires started falling in like the late 1800s and the early 1900s. Then next up was the aristocrats like the Rockefellers and the Fords, and then it was the Hollywood stars, and then the extremely affluent like people, like young people with disposable income. And then it eventually just kept on going on that trend of like young people with disposable income, until now it's like teenagers can get their hands on luxury fashion, right? And this all happened because it got more and more accessible, because money became more and more of an important factor. It used to be this high thing where only certain people can access it, but with the increasing like prospect of easy sales, it started to get diluted and spread thin, so more people had access to buy it. And then Bernard Arnault, who is the chairman of LVMH, came along, and he totally just opened it up for everybody, democratized it. Overall, he streamlined the brand, so it was no longer Christian Dior and Burberry's with like an apostrophe S. It was just Dior, just Burberry. Celine had like Vaspora at the end or something like that, and it just became Celine. Everything became streamlined and easy to access, easy to digest. The main products that got pushed weren't like the expensive ones, but it was the accessories, like the handbags and the footwear and the lip gloss, the perfumes, the type of things that would wear out over time and become replaceable, so you'd have to buy more of it, right? And he would put these young hip designers like Marc Jacobs at Louis, Alexander McQueen at Givenchy, John Galliano at Givenchy, and then Dior. He would put these young hip designers there to inject the brands with new young hip life, and he would market like crazy. Market, try to build this dream, this lifestyle of the brand that is to be aspired to have, So when people buy little pieces of like perfume or lip gloss, and they, do whatever they do with it, they feel like they have a piece of the dream. Now that's the thing. These brands do TV commercials like Chanel, Dior. They do crazy marketing to try and get as many people to feel like they can buy the product as possible, because that's how they made the most money, right? That's like for the accessible side. Now on the flip side, you have brands like, let's say, Karen Christian Powell, or If Six Was Nine and Legrand Blue, and all those other really niche brands that don't do any marketing, don't do any runways. It's pretty much like word to mouth is how you find out about these brands. It's like a very elite select few, but not elite in terms of like price point or anything, just elite in terms of if you know, you know. You know what I mean? That's like the other side of it, where you're trying to keep your brand image in control, so that it's like, not I would say cult like, but just a very dedicated amount of people who actually buy your clothes. So they're gonna wear it like in the way you probably want to, because they're all there for the very same thing. Because it's very tailored and curated. That's the most effective way to like really control your brand's image and who wears it. If you just keep it extremely niche and exclusive. That usually doesn't really sell much, especially if it's niche. If you're gonna go for sales, you have to be a little bit more mainstream. But if you're going for a really cult like niche, selective few type of thing, then you have to like present your brand as such. Still, some brands are trying to keep like the old luxury feeling alive, like how Chrome Hearts and Hermes do, like very handmade, handcrafted, tailored, like custom to you type of clothing. They do like very specific appointments. It takes like 6 months for your order to get through. You can't just walk in and buy anything significant and really, really like special out of those stores. You can buy like the little shit versions, but like they're the shit versions. They're not like the real hard thing. But yeah, other than Hermes and Chrome, most brands trying to get as far of a reach as possible to get as much people to buy their clothes as possible with their products in general, because that's what makes them the most sales. But with that, you get problems because people can do anything in your clothes. You can be a homeless man off the street walking into a Louis store with 2K and buying a Louis jacket. And then everybody's gonna be like, how did this homeless man get his hands on a Louis jacket? And then people are gonna be looking at Louis weird. Let me give you an example of like when brands suffer because of like the actions of regular people wearing their clothes. So in the early 2000s in England, you had the chavs. I'm pretty sure chavs is like Roman or something for like child, something like that. Chavs. They would have like baggy tracksuits and like hats, gold jewelry all over, and anything Burberry. They would be Burberry anything. That was their thing, right? Back in the early 2000s. They would smoke cigarettes and do hooligan stuff. They were just hooligans. They would intimidate passersby. They were just hooligans, right? And they'd always have on Burberry. And they especially took a liking, a obsession with the Burberry like check cap. And they would just do such horrible things in these caps, or they would just disturb so much public peace and cause so much public problems while being in this Burberry cap, that the Burberry cap became, associated with these negative things. So Burberry actually discontinued this cap. This is an example of like, how regular people ruin brands images and stuff like that. Another one is a more widespread understandable one is like rappers in New York and how they would wear like luxury. They would like buy luxury clothing, but almost in like a parody like nature. They'd buy the like logo filled stuff, like the big Chanel shirt that says Chanel on the front, or the Gucci clothes with the Gucci all over, like the logo mania type stuff, and almost like a parody type nature. A lot of brands embraced it, like how I previously said. Like even with Marc Jacobs with like the graffiti on the Louis Vuitton bags, like that was like for the streets, right? But a lot of brands actually push this away. Basically, the head of the champagne house that makes Cristal or owns Cristal, named Frederic Rosard, basically said, "What can we do? We can't forbid we can't forbid people from buying it. I'm sure Dom Perignon or Krug, both owned by LVMH, would be delighted to have their business." Which is basically racist as fuck, right? He's like, we can't stop them from buying it and drinking it, but we don't want their business. We can't, I'm sure somebody else will take their business, but we can't do anything about it. And Jay Z fell away, and he basically took Cristal off all the wine lists in all of his bars in like New York and Atlantic City, and he vowed to change a lot of his lyrics that reference Cristal because he viewed the guy's what's it called, the guy's comments as racist, and they were racist as hell. So that guy thought they were ruining his image as well, because he's like, oh, these rappers are just talking about drinking my drink, they're ruining my image. This is all to say, bro, they can do everything, but once they put the clothes out for retail and send it to whatever shops they're sending it to, Barney's, Saks, uh H. Lorenzo, Dover Street, wherever it goes, as long as it's available to the general public, anybody can buy these clothes and put them on, and it's yours forever once you get them, as long as you don't get robbed or destroy the clothes or get them lost. And you can do anything you want in these clothes. I'm talking about anything while wearing the clothes. People were doing anything in the big red boots. Anything. Imagine if we all did something specific in the big red boots, then it would get associated with that. Imagine if everybody just wanted to skate in the big red boots, then it would become the big red boots skate challenge, because that's how like community works. It's like a hive mind thing, Or imagine if there was like a TikTok challenge where everybody tried to like moonwalk in the big red boots. As a matter of fact, there was the thing where the boots were hard to get off, so many people would film themselves trying to get them off, and they'd like cut holes in the back. I can't be the only person that remembers people doing that. That's like It's like when a collective thing starts to I'm gonna say ruminate. I hope that's the right word to use. When a collective thing starts to ruminate and like bubble up, that becomes like the main thing that is associated with the product. You know what I mean? It's even like when certain people, it can get really niche. Like, say for example, I pull up to the skate park with a Supreme Box logo shirt on. People are automatically going to think, "Oh, this guy's a normie. What the hell?" Like he's a poser. He's a this. He's a that. Or if I pull up with like even a board with zero scratches on it, it's like these type of things. You send signals out to people when you wear certain things, whether you like it or not. As long as it's like popular enough, or it doesn't even have to be popular. It can just mean something because of the internet. The internet dictates what brands and certain clothes mean because that's where a lot of things start. That's where a lot of cultures and subcultures grow. It grows on the internet now. So all is that to say, like, I could put on a if 6 was 9 fur hoodie with if 6 was 9 Mud Max pants and demonias, and I'd automatically identify to a certain group of people, and I'd send messages out to the people who know. But for the people who don't know, I probably just look weird. I'm getting off topic actually. That's a whole other video idea. I was just to say, like, if you wanted to pick a brand, it's like when they pick GameStop to like push on the stock market, and it was like a collective effort, and they actually kind of all did it together. It's like if we all picked a brand like say Old Navy or something, and like we made Old Navy fly as hell. Like people could do that. It's like, okay, these are the real examples. It's like Affliction and Tap Out. There's like a negative stigma towards young kids who wear Affliction and Tap Out. They're gonna be considered to be, oh, these stupid Y2K grunge kids who wear the size 40 jeans, Affliction shirts, trapper hats, New Rocks. Those things get like not necessarily a negative rep, but they get a rep for sure because they get associated with these certain type of people. Because if the certain type of people are always wearing these things and they're doing the same things like thrifting and vaping and skating, these things all get associated together because fashion is a social thing. It's a social engagement type of thing where it engages with everything else in your life because it's your clothes that you're wearing. It cannot be detached from everything else. It's almost synonymous with so many other art forms and a lifestyle once you're putting these clothes on and you're owning it. You can't escape from being profiled by your clothes. You cannot escape it. It's like people who be like, oh, you have to look homeless to have a good fit. If you don't get called homeless or emo or gay, your fit isn't good. Like, why can't the outfit just be you? You know what I mean? That's a whole other thing though. But yeah, like we could also bring back some cool brands. Like if everybody decided to like wear Thrasher again and make it cool, like you could legitimately do that too. That's why when brands are failing, they trying to like get people to revive their brands. Remember when Destroy Lonely and Ken Carson did the anti-social social club photo shoot? That wasn't good enough. The brand is still dead and trash. You know what I mean? But if they were just wearing it willingly and trying to like put it back on, bro, oh, I'm so glad to remember this for the video. It's like Hood by Air with Kanye and Carti. And now everybody like, okay, Hood by Air was making an actual real slow comeback naturally for a little bit. Like it was definitely a visible thing that was happening. Don't get me wrong. But when Kanye and Carti started putting on Hood by Air again, there's people wearing Hood by Air, and it's like, bro, we know exactly what you're doing. You wouldn't be wearing it without these guys, right? And it's like now you're like signaling to people that, oh, I'm wearing Hood by Air. I'm supposed to be cool because it's associated with Carti and Kanye. It's back in style. That's the reason why I'm wearing Hood by Air. If they weren't back in style, you would be wearing Hood by Air, and people might respect it because it's like, oh, that's some archive shit, kinda. And like it would actually probably mean more to the like actual people of the internet who have been around. They'd be like, oh, you're wearing Hood by Air. That's some, people don't really wear that anymore. That's some real taste. But now it's like, bro, we know we're all on the same internet. We know where you're getting it from. Like, you know what I mean? Long story short, our brand is at complete mercy of the people who buy the clothes. You can have a certain idea for how you want your clothes to be styled or looked, but once it goes into the hands of the public, you have zero control. Zero control. You just have to hope that they're real fans of the brand and they're just not buying it just to buy it and say they're wearing it. And then they end up looking stupid in it. I think that's the end of the video. This was Loki, a Yap session. I'm seeing 20 minutes and 6 seconds on my recording thing. It was not supposed to be this long. I might edit this. My friend Mimi might edit this. I have to get ready to go to like a rap thing right now. Mother's Day is tomorrow and I bought my mom a lot of stuff. please tell your mom Happy Mother's Day. If you don't have one, if your mom passed away, if you never knew her, say a prayer. You feel me? Yeah, okay, that's all. Please like and subscribe if you like the video. Please stick around for more. If you want to see more fashion content, check my channel out, check my socials out, check me out, checking out